Hello everyone, this is your reading here, Wise. The SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-763, with a link in the description of the video below for you to follow as I read aloud. SCP-763 is contained in Sub-Basement G of the now-defunct Veal Production Facility on the outskirts of Illinois. After the discovery of SCP-763, the Foundation declared the facility, which was secured and designated biological site. The facility is still supplied with a liquid feed solution previously used to nourish veal calves, although only enough to maintain SCP-763's growth. The feeding system was established by the facility's previous owner. Cost has been documented and should be maintained unless a more efficient feeding method is devised. If any components are added to SCP-763, the dosage of nutrient solution must be scaled up accordingly. Consult document SCP-763- the volume and release time of solution to be provided per component. Because of SCP-763's ability to absorb human organic matter into itself, it is vitally important that no personnel touch SCP-763 with bare skin. SCP-763 is a mass of human organic tissue occupying approximately 300 square meters of space with an estimated mass of over 4,000 kilograms. It is mostly an irregular configuration of the tissue with the exception of SCP-763-A. Much of the mass of SCP-763 is the muscular tissue, with an abundance of blood vessels. This muscle tissue is highly atrophied and non-motile, though despite the lack of use, there is a great amount of blood flow at all times. Most of the structure is relatively thin, at around 10 centimeters thick, allowing the blood flow to diffuse the high heat generated by the central mass, which is a large lump approximately 2 meters high. This blood flow is provided by a large central collection of hearts and a number of other hearts arrayed throughout SCP-763's structure. All the organs of the human body are present in SCP-763, located in a relatively even distribution throughout the system. The lungs are fed by a number of mouth-like round holes in SCP-763's skin. The feeding tubes pass directly into SCP-763 as though the flesh grew around them as its mass expanded. Researchers believe that the blood vessels and organs are essentially a support system for what has been designated the cluster. The cluster is an interconnected network of 37 human brains of varying sizes connected by the chains of cells resembling neurons. This array is enclosed by a multi-layered arrangement of bone growths. The bones most closely resemble ribs, though they exhibit offshoots that allow them to interlace into a tighter structure. Initial analysis revealed a far higher than normal amount of neurotransmitter activity. Over time, the individual brains each enter a resting state with neural activity consistent with REM sleep, in times period consistent with a polyphasic sleep pattern. This resting state lasts approximately 45 minutes. At any given time, there are 5 brains in this resting state, while the remaining 32 brains are in the active state. A collection of bone and nerve fibers resembling a spinal column approximately 3 meters in length extends from cluster to join with the spinal column of SCP-763-A. SCP-763-A appears to be the body of the facility's former owner, Klaus. The body is only partially absorbed into the rest of SCP-763, retaining all its, presumably, original organs and general shape and structure. To date, it has shown no signs of movement or further absorption. It should be noted that other absorbed subjects have been completely integrated into SCP-763 within 3 months. When SCP-763 was discovered, SCP-763-A was in the seated position, in which it remains. There was a table in front of SCP-763-A with a sheaf of papers on them, completely decayed from the warm, damp conditions of Sub-Basement G. SCP-763-A's hand held a pencil, apparently poised to write. Any previous writing has been lost with the degradation of paper. SCP-763-A's facial expression is one of intense concentration, or perhaps pain, with features contorted and eyes closed. Unlike the rest of the muscular tissue in SCP-763, SCP-763-A is not atrophied, despite having exhibited no movement to date. Researchers assume that SCP-763-A remains unabsorbed to function as an interface with the rest of SCP-763. To date, no stimulus has provoked a response from SCP-763-A other than atomic reflexes and immune system response. Since its discovery by the Foundation, SCP-763 has incorporated biological material from 7 humans, 2 security personnel, 1 medical technician, and 3 Class D personnel, and also Dr. Direct skin contact with SCP-763 causes tiny barbs to hook into the skin and administer a paralytic neurotoxin. As soon as the subject is paralyzed, digestive acids are secreted and begin to dissolve the skin where contact was initiated. Once this is done, the skin will begin to heal at an accelerated rate, with the subject's skin now bonding with SCP-763. This process of dissolving and re-healing is repeated over and over, with the subject becoming progressively more integrated into SCP-763. After the subject is mostly absorbed, their organs begin to migrate to different areas, taking their place throughout the network as needed. In some cases, organs that are seemingly not needed are digested and used for additional nutrition. Most subjects have been fully absorbed within 2 months. Dr. Oliver's organs did not stop their movement until more than 3 months have passed. Researchers believe that this longer time was due to the intercage around the blood cluster moving to accommodate the addition of Dr. Oliver's brain. To date, this is the only time at which a brain has been added, with all others digested. While securing the premises, security personnel J and M failed to check in for their scheduled updates. A second team was deployed and discovered J and M unresponsive and in the preliminary stages of absorption. Attempts to extricate personnel from SCP-763 resulted in the deaths of both staff members, as well as a medical technician who made direct skin contact during surgery. After noticing irregularities in the radio updates coming from Biological Site 4, a security team was dispatched to investigate. Armed Response Team Omicron-3 discovered all site personnel poisoned with the exception of the head researcher, Dr. who was found mostly incorporated into SCP-763. Apparently, he had made a large incision in SCP-763 and folded himself inside. A note was found near Dr. discarded clothing. The note is reproduced below.
I have to know. 6 months and not a single inkling of what's going on in there. Together, in the fucking hell about organ function and immune deficiency. I need to know what it's thinking. I need to know. I will know.
Despite initial desire to terminate the biological components of Dr. betrayal, Armed Response Team Omicron-3 was instructed to desist after replacement research personnel discovered that Dr. Wayne was being incorporated into the cluster. The additional research data gained by observing this process was deemed more important than revenge. Request by researchers that SCP-763-A be provided with replacement writing materials in the event that it should attempt to write is currently pending. Honestly, I liked this SCP. It was very gory, very disgusting, and honestly, body horror is very interesting. So this idea of basically just a slab of flesh that will continue adding to its mass so long as people continue trying to touch and get near it, it's just fascinating to me. And it really does ask the question of, in that case, what else can we do to get this thing away from humanity and get this thing into a basement as soon as possible? Before I close the video, I do want to say that this series will be heavily inspired by Shuki's old SCP-READINGS series from around 2012 to 2018, I believe. So shout out to Shuki for both the vibes I'm building this one and for making my childhood. Besides that, I don't think I'll be taking any SCPs to read, unfortunately, but I'll still be covering other SCPs, just ones that haven't been read by a human yet, or aren't covered by anything besides a content one. Anyhow, that was SCP-763. Thank you for joining me on this reading, and have a nice day.